Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to take a closer look at a market that's, well, it's really expanding rapidly and it's globally quite impactful. The security and surveillance market.
Yeah, and our insights for this deep dive, they come straight from the latest comprehensive market research data. So it gives us a really clear picture of, where this industry stands and where it seems to be headed. Our mission today is pretty straightforward. We want to give you a clear, concise understanding of this market's really impressive global momentum. We'll highlight the key figures, look at the fastest growing regions, and maybe unpack some of the core drivers propelling all this expansion. And when we talk about expansion, I mean, the numbers are genuinely eye-opening. This market, it was valued at just over, $42 billion in sales revenue back in 2021, right? 42.7 billion roughly.
Yeah.
And it's projected to hit nearly 59 billion by 2025. And then get this, it's estimated to basically more than double again by 2033, soaring past $110 billion.
That's huge. It really is. That translates to a consistent, pretty healthy growth rate, averaging over 8% globally each year.
Okay, let's try and unpack this.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here, I think, is how these numbers aren't just about, dollars and cents. Such rapid market expansion for security and surveillance technologies, it really hints at these profound societal and technological shifts happening all around us. It reflects a world that's increasingly investing in, let's say, visibility and control. And that has broad implications for, how we live and interact day to day.
Those numbers are staggering, yeah. And that idea of visibility and control, it's intriguing. So when we talk about world investing more in that, what does it practically look like on the ground,
Yeah.
based on what our sources are telling us? Are we just talking about like new forms of data collection, or is it simply more cameras everywhere? Well, it's definitely more than just adding cameras, although that's part of it, of course. Our sources show us that this investment translates into much more sophisticated integrated systems. Think about how public spaces are evolving. You've got smart streetlights, right? They can monitor traffic flow, maybe even detect unusual activity. Or think about real-time incident response platforms in city centers.
Sure.
It's really about gathering and then analyzing information to create a more responsive and, at least in theory, a safer environment for everyone.
Okay, that makes sense. And our mission, as we said, was to highlight the key figures and the core drivers. You mentioned these key drivers just a bit ago: rising urban security needs, these smart city deployments, and AI-driven surveillance systems. Let's maybe dive a little deeper into that first one, rising urban security needs. What are some of the specific challenges our sources highlight? The things these new systems are actually designed to address?
Yeah, sure. The sources consistently point to several factors here. I mean, first, increasing urbanization, more people living closer together, right?
Yeah.
That naturally can heighten concerns around public safety, maybe crime prevention, managing large crowds effectively, things like that.
Right.
There's also this growing need or demand, really, for faster response times to incidents. And just a general desire, I think, to make cities feel safer for residents and visitors alike. So these systems are really being deployed to try and meet those, escalating demands.
Okay. And then there's the increasing deployment of smart city initiatives. For you listening, what does that really entail beyond just traffic cameras, and how does it connect specifically to security and surveillance?
Oh, it's a huge leap beyond just simple cameras. Yeah. Smart city initiatives, they integrate this whole network of technologies. You've got sensors, IoT devices, data analytics platforms, all working together to manage various urban services. So in the security context, this means things like intelligent video analytics, systems that can maybe detect suspicious packages left unattended, or unusual crowd behavior. Automated license plate recognition is another big one. And even integrated communication systems for emergency services, so everyone's on the same page instantly. It's really about creating a connected urban ecosystem where data informs public safety decisions in, ideally, real time.
Right, real-time decisions.
Okay. And finally, this big investment in AI-driven surveillance systems. How are these actually different from the sort of traditional systems? And what's the big picture shift they represent for the market? AI is genuinely transformative in this space. I mean, traditional surveillance was largely passive, right?
Yeah.
It relied on human operators literally watching feeds, trying to spot something.
Yeah, exactly. Sitting in a room somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But AI-driven systems, they're proactive. They can automatically identify anomalies, maybe recognize faces or objects, track movements across multiple cameras. They could even sometimes predict potential issues based on patterns learned from, vast amounts of historical data. So this moves security from being purely reactive to something more predictive. And that significantly enhances the efficiency and effectiveness of surveillance overall. It's a huge driver of the growth we're seeing.
Okay, so with those really powerful drivers in mind, the urban needs, the smart cities, the AI, let's talk about where this market growth is really sort of exploding geographically. We've seen the big forecast numbers for established markets like North America and Europe, but our sources point to some really fascinating shifts and these rapidly emerging zones too.
Absolutely. And while North America projected to hit right around $45 billion by 2033 and Europe reaching an estimated $22 billion by then, while they continue to dominate in sheer market size, you're right, the true engines of rapid growth are definitely emerging elsewhere.
Right.
Regions like Asia-Pacific, for example, are truly leading the charge there. They're showing the fastest overall growth. It looks like 9.2% compound annual growth rate. That puts them heading towards nearly $30 billion by 2033.
Wow, almost catching up to Europe in size, but growing faster.
Exactly. And the Middle East isn't far behind either. It's demonstrating really strong growth, around 8.5% CAGR.
And within those high growth regions, our sources seem to highlight some specific national standouts, don't they? Like India, for instance.
Yes, precisely. If you drill down even further, you see these specific regional leaders. India is a great example, boasting an incredible 10% CAGR, almost 10.1% actually, which really underscores its rapid urbanization and, massive infrastructure development programs.
Makes sense.
And even within Europe, which is more established, Germany is showing robust growth as well, with an impressive 8.5% CAGR, similar to the Middle East overall. So these figures, they really underscore a truly global acceleration. And it's driven by those factors we discussed. The rising urban security needs, those smart city deployments, and these significant investments in AI-driven surveillance systems. If we connect this to the bigger picture, well, it raises a really important question, I think. As this security and surveillance technology becomes increasingly integrated into our cities, into our urban environments, and really into our daily lives, what new opportunities and maybe what new considerations might this rapid market growth present for you listening?
So what does this all mean? We hope this deep dive into the security and surveillance market has given you some valuable insights and perhaps, sparked some new questions for you to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take a pile of research and, well, boil it down to what really matters. Today, we're digging into the security and surveillance market. It's evolving incredibly fast. Our insights for this come straight from cognitive market research. So we've got some solid data behind our discussion today on an industry that's, frankly, becoming more essential by the day.
Yeah, that's right. And our mission today really is to cut through all the noise surrounding this field. We want to get to the heart of it, understand the big forces driving growth, the significant challenges it faces, and maybe touch on the exciting future trends shaping it all, basically giving you the real story.
Okay, great. So let's start there. Where are the kind of main engines of growth? What's pushing this expansion?
When we look at the data, the first big thing that jumps out has to be, rising security concerns. I mean, globally, you're seeing more issues like theft, terrorism is a factor, vandalism, organized crime. It's everywhere. And this is causing governments, corporations, even, as you said, private households to really invest. And it's not just about documenting incidents anymore, right? There's a big shift towards real-time threat prevention. It's fundamentally changing things.
That's a really crucial point. Public safety initiatives are a huge part of this push. They're driving the adoption of these smart surveillance technologies. And we're not just talking basic cameras anymore. These are systems with advanced capabilities, think motion detection, AI video analytics, facial recognition, things that offer a whole new layer of sort of preemptive intelligence. And it ties into another major driver, the increasing adoption of smart city projects.
Right.
With more people moving into cities, urbanization is pushing authorities to build intelligent surveillance right into the infrastructure. These aren't just standalone cameras on a pole anymore. They're part of a bigger ecosystem. Facial recognition, traffic monitoring, even behavioral analytics, all working together to like an integrated urban brain.
Exactly. You've nailed it. Surveillance is becoming a core backbone for smart data structure. It gives urban planners much better visibility into public safety, sure, but it also helps manage, everything from traffic flow to emergency response times. It's actually fascinating how it's changing urban living.
Yeah, it really is. And then beyond the public sphere, there's the expansion of industrial and commercial infrastructure. That's another big push. Just think about all the construction happening globally.
Yeah.
New commercial buildings, massive warehouses, transport hubs, manufacturing plants. And alongside that building boom, you see a parallel rise in investment in surveillance tools,
Mm.
CCTV obviously,
Yeah.
but also access control, biometric scanners, sophisticated AI monitoring platforms.
Right. And for companies, this isn't just about protecting, say, their inventory or equipment. It serves a dual purpose. Protecting physical assets, yes, but also ensuring the safety and well-being of their employees and customers. It's a really comprehensive view of security.
Okay, so we've got these powerful growth drivers, but despite all that momentum, the market definitely faces some pretty significant challenges. It's not all smooth sailing. One of the big ones that comes up is the high cost, installation,
Yeah.
operational cost. We're talking expensive high-res cameras, needing loads of cloud storage. The AI software itself isn't cheap, plus ongoing maintenance. That kind of substantial capital needed up front, it can really deter adoption, can't it? Especially for, say, small businesses or organizations working with tight budgets.
Oh, absolutely. That upfront investment is a major hurdle. For many smaller players, it's simply not feasible. And this does create a potential disparity, a gap in security levels between those who can afford the tech and those who can't. It leaves vulnerabilities.
That makes sense. And look, whenever we talk about these powerful surveillance systems, we have to address the elephant in the room: privacy, data security concerns. This is really at the forefront of the whole debate, raising some tough ethical questions about, where the boundaries of personal privacy lie.
Yeah.
We see this playing out, for instance, in regions with really strict data protection laws, the GDPR in Europe. The General Data Protection Regulation there, it often slows down or limits surveillance deployments because of those tough privacy rules.
And that highlights a key complexity. There's no single globally agreed upon privacy framework. So what's perfectly legal and acceptable in one country might face huge regulatory hurdles somewhere else. It forces this constant balancing act, doesn't it? How do you ensure safety using this tech without trampling on personal liberty, especially when the rules differ so much? It's a fundamental tension.
Definitely. And one more challenge, maybe a bit more practical, is the technical limitations you often find in more rural or remote areas, places that lack reliable internet access or even consistent power infrastructure. That's a basic problem.
Right.
Plus, add to that sometimes a shortage of trained people who can actually install and maintain these complex systems. It just creates real barriers to entry in those markets. You can't just drop in advanced tech everywhere.
It's a good reminder that the infrastructure needs to be there first.
Okay, so challenges acknowledged. Let's shift gears now and look towards the future, because there are some really transformative developments shaping what's next. And right at the top of that list seems to be the integration of artificial intelligence and video analytics. This feels like where things get really interesting and maybe a bit controversial for some.
Mm-hmm.
Surveillance systems are moving way beyond just being passive recorders. They're becoming genuinely intelligent monitors. Think about the difference AI makes. Real-time facial recognition, tracking objects or people, automatically counting crowds, reading license plates. It really takes proactive threat detection to a completely different level compared to just reviewing tape after something bad happens.
It's a paradigm shift, truly, from reactive to proactive.
Exactly. And another huge trend changing the landscape is the surge in cloud-based surveillance solutions. We're seeing a definite move away from those older, traditional DVR boxes humming away in a back room.
Yeah, the on-premise stuff.
Right. Towards the software as a service or SaaS platforms. The benefits are pretty clear. Scalability, you can add cameras easily, remote access from anywhere, real-time alerts sent to your phone. It reduces reliance on bulky physical hardware, allows for centralized monitoring even across multiple locations, and makes system upgrades much simpler. It's just more flexible.
And potentially more cost-effective in the long run for some operational aspects, even if the subscription model is different.
Good point. And finally, let's talk about drones and mobile surveillance units. Their use seems to be expanding rapidly. You see law enforcement using them, event organizers for large gatherings.
Definitely.
They're using them for things like crowd control, securing perimeters, and enabling a really quick response during emergencies. It adds this whole dynamic mobile layer.
Absolutely. Drones especially give you that aerial view, that real-time data feed from above. They fill in the gaps that fixed static cameras just can't cover. It dramatically improves flexibility, especially in dynamic situations or large open areas. If you step back and look at the bigger picture, these mobile technologies combined with AI and cloud are really redefining what surveillance even means. The reach, the responsiveness, it's unprecedented.
So just to kind of wrap things up and recap what we've explored today, it seems clear the security and surveillance market isn't just growing, It's fundamentally transforming.
That's the key takeaway. It's undergoing a major evolution driven by these forces we discussed. Urbanization, those deep-seated safety concerns, smart infrastructure pushes, and of course, incredible tech innovation. And while challenges like privacy and cost are very real and need ongoing attention, the overall trajectory points towards continued, significant expansion.
And the future you're painting is one where security becomes, well, smarter, faster, and much more interconnected, largely thanks to AI, the cloud, and these mobile technologies like drones.
Precisely. Which leads us perhaps to a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. As these security systems become increasingly intelligent, increasingly integrated into the fabric of our daily lives, what responsibilities do we all have? As citizens, as consumers, as innovators, how do we ensure these incredibly powerful tools are used primarily to enhance our collective safety without inadvertently eroding the personal freedoms we value? It's really an ongoing negotiation, isn't it? The social contract is evolving right alongside the technology, something we'll all need to keep thinking about.